Hi everyone, my name is Michelle and I'm Mama Loves UGB here on FlossTube, and this is my Flossmas Advent series, day 17, December the 17th. Welcome to the morning briefing, as those of you who watch it in the morning like to say. And I have got all the usual things for you today. I have got an FFO, which is actually going to be my pass finish, or one of my pass finishes as well. I've got some bits and bobs that I found down in the town to show you today that you might be interested in, and I got my new jumper on as well. I do like a jumper with a big neck, but this is a bit ridiculous really. I'm pretty much sure this is a COVID jumper because you can pretty much hide in it. But there we go. Maybe I just need to fettle it a little bit. It made me laugh actually. One of the somebody commented yesterday on my cosy jumper, and she said that it reminded her of sort of like the 40s glamour girls with their mink coats on, and that actually made me think of my auntie. My auntie, if she'd have lived, she died quite a few years ago now, but if she'd have lived, she'd have been in her late 90s probably now, and she was sort of that generation that always had the matching shoes, the high-heeled shoes, the matching gloves, the coat and the hat. And they owned a shop in Dunoon, and oh my god, that woman could tell you your fortune. She was hilarious. But she had a mink coat, and actually right up until her final days she was doing the garden in a pair of stilettos and a fur coat. But she always said, she always wore a hat, and she always said you can wear any hat you like as long as the brim is level with your eyes and it will suit you. And actually she's right. I always think when people pop a hat sort of on the back of their head, it always makes them look daft, but if you pull it down and put it level with your eyes, then it looks right, and she's right. Anyway, I digress. Having said I would finish that little design yesterday, I haven't put a stitch in yet. It's sort of 11 o'clock at night and I haven't put a stitch in yet. I have been sorting out my patterns and my charts because I don't think I've put anything away since I started doing these Flossmases, and I just thought I'd show you because I had to pop down and get another couple today. What I use to store most of my charts in, and what I actually use are these. They are from The Works, £3 each, and literally it's just an A4 display book. So I should have opened this one, but basically, in fact, let me just grab one. So back again. So yeah, this is what they look like, and I keep them either as freebies, Halloween, Christmas, samplers or general. Those are my only categories. And then they've got just the floppy pockets in, and I store my printed charts and my little charts like that. Some of the bigger charts that don't go in, I just sort of slip in the back, or I've got a file box for those bigger charts that won't fit inside the floppy pockets. But for me, that's quite a good way of actually storing them. And the other thing I bought, which I've just thrown over here while I was in The Works, is they've got these ribbons. There's 2 meters of each one, and they're pretty nice quality actually. I've used one of them on a project that I'm going to show you in a minute. But yeah, they're pretty nice quality for £2. So mind you, give it a couple of days and they'll probably be 75% off, so I should wait if I were you. I'm going to show you the candy cane saga. It's got candy canes in it. 48 of them arrived today. So me and my daughter had a couple each, and then I think all the children, as I said, I know, are going to get candy canes with their presents. The only thing I need to get is I wanted to put some little like Christmas tree boughs and things like that in there as well, and I haven't got any of those, but the candy cane saga is finished. So all done with those. Right, should we do past finishes then? So past finishes then, this one is the 2020 Prairie Schooler Santa, and I used similar colours but not their colours because I actually don't really like the Prairie Schooler red. I know for a fact that the green is a Victorian Motto green, but it's very similar to the called for. I just used it because I had it and I had more of it than I had of the DMC. And the burgundy is a Threadworks burgundy. So this is the North Wind Santa who has impaled the rabbit on the staff there, and it's just done on mount board and then boards together covered in a bit of gingham. And a nice little tip with gingham is that if you try and put it so that the checks are straight, it will always look wonky. So if you put it so that the checks go across like that, it will always look wonky, whereas if you put it on the fabric so that you've got diamonds, it really hides any sort of little imperfections. And I just used a bit of chenille trim around there, which also came from the works actually, but a while ago. They were those little balls of chenille trim that I was talking about the other day. So that's my first finish. It is stitched on, now a lady said to me, how can you look at it and just tell what it is? It's sort of an educated guess really. I would say that's a 28 count. No, it's not, it's a 32. See, I can't do it. It's an educated guess, and actually I'm never going to get it close enough for you to show you it. It's a 32 count. Just the stitches look a little bit tighter on a 32 count than they do on a 28 count. And I know it's a piece that I hand dyed myself. It's a piece that I coffee and tea dyed. And it's taken literally 2 years for the smell of the coffee to go away for me to actually use it. So that's why I don't tend to coffee dye stuff, because I'm really sensitive to the smell of coffee. I don't mind coffee, I have to be in the mood for it, but not on fabric. So that's my pass finish, and that just sort of sits on a shelf. This is the one that I finished today, and this is a Prairie Schooler again, almost as if I planned it. And it is the, now this is where I haven't planned it, 2007 limited edition or special edition, and it's definitely called Let It Snow. And what I did was I made it into a little drawstring bag. So I used the same fabric on the back, and it's lined with this really pretty red fabric, and then all I've done is I've used, and this is actually some of the ribbon from those set of 4 spools that I bought earlier to make the tie. And there we go. So that's my finish there. And I would just put, you know, some little Christmas doodads in there and kind of hang it up, I think. The bow's only tied, so I could always turn that into a hanging loop if I wanted to, but I was really pleased with the finish on that, and it was dead easy to make. So I just looked up a tutorial for a drawstring bag, and yeah, it was really easy. So happy with that. Okie dokie, I'm going to go with my floss now, and I just realised I haven't turned the lights on, so I was doing so well for such a long time and I haven't turned the lights on. Rookie. I have to turn it this way a little bit because I think 17's at the bottom there. Ooh, juniper, that's a nice colour. So Weeks Dye Works juniper. It's a really dark green. I thought actually when it came out the box that it was collards. I think collards is a little bit lighter than this. So yeah, that's another green to add to my collection. I do like having a few greens actually. They're always nice to have. And one thing with these threads, what I will do with these threads is I will just hang them by my stitchy chair. Because I swap sort of threads in and out quite often, if I put them away, they're out of sight and out of mind, whereas if I just have them hanging by my chair, if I'm stitching a chart and it calls for a DMC, I'll just have a little flick through and see if I've got something that matches the colour or is similar that's in the sort of more variegated fancy floss, and just swap it in. So I do like to have them sort of quite close by to see, and just swap the odd one in and out whenever I feel like it, really. And I've just realised that I've left the Freebie charts in my new folders, so I'll just go and grab one of those. Hang on. See, it doesn't always pay to be too organised, I think, you know, when it was all kind of within easy reach, no problem. So the designer that I've chosen today is Hands-On Design, and I really couldn't choose between two charts. I'm going to show you both of them. The reason I like this first one is because of the shape of it. It's a little hexagon, it's called Meant to Be. And I just like things that are a slightly different shape, sometimes presented in a different way, rather than just sort of square pillows or square frames all the time. It's nice to have a bit of variety. So, as I said, this is from Hands-On Design. And I'll try and zoom in up there. Sorry, I've got quite a lot of shadow today. And it's just a little pillow. Oh, let's come back a bit from the actual chart, because I want you to go and get it from Hands-On Design. It is free, but I want you to go and get it from them. Let's see if I can come back there. A little bee pin cushion. It just says Meant to Be on it, and then lots of back stitching to form the honeycomb. And the other one that I wanted to show you, which I'm sure you'll have seen, is the Merry one that's got lots of berries around it. So I'll try and hold it like that. There we go, that's a bit better. So I'll link to both of those below, because you might be able to fit this one in just before Christmas and add it to your ornament collection. Again, I think there's something about this turquoise fabric that I really like at the moment. I think I've stitched 3 or 4 things on the turquoise fabric and really loved each one of them. I think it's the turquoise and red that I really like. So I will put the links down below. The other link I'm going to put down below is a lady was asking me whether I would go through the different types of cross-stitch fabric and even weaves and linens and things like that. And to be honest, that's not my forte. I could probably give you a sort of a reasonable explanation of all of them. But for me, what I go for really is the colour first and then count. And I'm not too bothered. You know, I like stitching on even weaves, I like stitching on linens. Aiden's not my favourite anymore, just because I find that when I stitch in hand, my stitches go missing under the Aiden more than they do than the linen and the even weave. But anyway, by the by. But what I did was I directed her, because she's quite a new stitcher, or she's new back to stitching, and obviously there's so many more fabrics about at the moment. I directed her towards the Cloudsfactory. They've got a really good blogspot which explains all the different types of fabrics that you can get, and the differences between the Muranos and the Luganas, and etc, etc. So I will put that link down below in case that's something that you would be interested in having a look at as well. It's a really, really good explanation. And lastly, before I go, because I was sorting out all my charts, I printed off a couple that I'd bought a wee while ago. And I was so impressed with them, I had to show them to you. So they're both by Wild Iris Snaps Designs, and the first one is called Anne Logan, which is a lovely Scottish sampler, and the family have got links to Ayrshire, which is where my family have got links to. And it's based on a lot of eyelet stitches. But the thing that really, really impressed me was you get loads of information about the history of the sampler that's been researched. But if you're new to sampler stitching, then there's obviously the colour legend, which is done in Weeks Dye Works, but there's also stitching guides about how to do the different stitches, and really good I'm going to hold this one back. Really good information. It's not the actual chart, but I'm still going to hold it back. Really good information about what colours to stitch where, especially when you're doing eyelets, which you can't use a symbol for. So if you haven't stitched a sampler and you want to have a go, the quality of the explanation on that one is brilliant, and I'm sure it would be on all of her designs, so whilst Iris Knapp's designs. Really, really worth going and having a look, and for the price, she's charging far too little for them. And this one I bought as well, which is on a spool. And the thing that struck me about this one, because the stitching on this one it's not very difficult at all, it's just cross stitch, but there's a whole page with photographs about how to actually pick out a spool, how to attach it to the spool, how to do some eyelet stitches, so you've got effectively a good way of attaching it to the spool at the back. And as I said, I bought these a while ago, but I hadn't printed them off. And then when I printed them off, I couldn't believe the amount of additional information that was there ready for you. And I just thought it was brilliant, so I wanted to show you those. And that's everything that I've got for you. So I'm just about to go and put the first few stitches in of the day at knocking on midnight, but never mind. I will see you tomorrow. Stay classy, stitchers.